What's going on, Shield Brothers and Shield Maidens? I'm True,
I'm Mendy.
and we are Shield's Rest, a group of friends and military members that absolutely love tabletop RPGs. And today, we are getting into another Daggerheart Class Build to finish this series off, the Wizard. So let's
Yeah.
get into it. So, Mendy, let's talk about character concept for the Wizard. What'd you decide to go with for this particular class build?
I know. First thing I want to say, True, it's been a journey. I can't believe this is the last build we're making in the 1.5, the beta, everything. I can't wait to get my hands on that book so we can re-attack these, see how wrong we were, see what other powerful shit we can actually create. But
Absolutely.
all right, for my character creation, True, I really wanted to make a blaster wizard.
Okay, yeah.
One thing that I
Figured you
one
would.
thing that I have to yeah, as I do. I mean, I'm playing Evocation Wizard in another game that I'm playing right now. I love big damage, correct?
Hell yeah.
And one thing about Daggerheart, and now one thing, you and I both love Daggerheart, but we're also critics. We're content
Yes.
creators about Daggerheart, and we have to say where things are lacking and where things are succeeding.
Yes.
In my opinion, for a blaster wizard in Daggerheart, that is lacking, and I'm hoping when the book comes out, I can create that blaster badass wizard that I want to make. But
Hopefully.
this is my spin on the beta of the 1.5 blaster wizards. So for ancestry, I picked a Galapa. Now,
Okay, yeah.
I enjoy the Galapa. It's pretty strong. I like that shell protection, and I really like slow and steady, just to make attack. Like, you just have advantage every now and then whenever you need it.
Absolutely.
For community, I picked
Seaborn?
Loreborn.
Oh,
No,
shit.
not this time. I know.
Dang.
I know. I don't know. I don't know how I didn't round out the city by making another Seaborn character, but I actually picked
Yeah.
Loreborn this time
I'm disappointed.
because I know I do like well read though. I like Loreborn. Advantage on
It's
any
so
roles
good.
recording history, culture, or politics. That is your GM's best friend
Yes.
because that just gives your GM opportunities to lore dump on you. And we've all been in those settings where you're kind of running around in town. You're supposed to be doing all these things, and then shit just gets so confused, and you need to re-attack. Like, what are we actually doing? What's the actual mission? Who are these people, and why are we doing this? But yeah, that's my heritage for my actual wizard, my class. We'll start out with traits. So
Yeah,
wizard
start off with
as
traits. Anything significant
as almost
there?
as almost all wizards should be doing. You take your +2 into knowledge. I feel like that's pretty standard across the board. But I took my +1s to presence and instinct, and then I took my my -1 to agility. As far as domain deck cards, I went ahead and picked up Bolt Beacon. Now, one thing that we're going to get into it in this video, the Splendor deck seemed a little lacking for me.
Yeah.
So this is one of the very few Splendor deck cards that I picked. But Bolt Beacon's nice to have. It's a D8 magical damage using your proficiency, and they become vulnerable. I like that touch. I'm okay with it.
Honestly, the Splendor
But
deck's a great deck. It just is a little off for the Wizard because, like I
yeah,
said before, we're not Clerics of Mist right here. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have the Splendor deck here. But I found that you can actually sustain yourself off of just the Codex deck cards and still have a good Wizard. It just feels off. Like, you want to be able to intermix other domain decks into this, and Splendor just didn't feel quite right. But Bolt Beacon is a great card. It's just a little weird
it's a
for a
great.
Wizard.
Yeah, it's very weird for a wizard. It's a great first level. It's nice to have. It just doesn't make that much sense, and that's why I picked it up. But I also picked up Book of Ava. I do like Book of Ava. Now, that's a really good level 1 card. I mean, Power Push is strong, Tava's Armor is strong, and Ice Spike.
Yes.
They're all strong. It doesn't feel like something you should be gifted at level 1, and that's my only gripe with it, is that it feels a little too strong for level 1, and that's why I took it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's strong. But with all that out of the way, with my domain deck cards, my traits, everything, that's my level 1.
What about your subclass?
What you do at level 1? Oh, subclass. I almost forgot the most
Yeah.
important build, or most important thing about the build.
Yeah.
True. Going back to going back to my tangent about a blaster wizard, I had to take School of War.
Yep.
Um, I feel like with my dice luck, I'm gonna be succeeding with fear often, and
Yeah.
it's just good. It's just good damage. It scales up. Um, we'll talk about this at the end, but I wasn't too crazy about either of the subclasses. I found School of War a little bit more powerful because it actually scales as you go up, and I feel like you're gonna be succeeding with fear. I don't know,
At least
25% of
half
the
the
time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere in there.
yeah. So picked it just to get some extra damage, right?
Hell yeah.
But that's what I
Love
that's
it.
what I did. That was my character creation. Tell me about your character creation.
Yeah, so for me, I wanted to go with a Loreborn Halfling. I took Loreborn for the same reasons
Okay.
you did. I wanted to be
Yeah.
able to get that extra, little lore nuggets from the GM whenever I can. And then
Yeah.
Halfling, I just enjoy Halfling, the idea of a wizard Halfling anyway. But it's also because Youthful Spirit is great because at the beginning of each session, hand out a hope to the party. Like everyone
Nice.
gains a hope. Like, there you go. Instead of 2, now we're sitting at 3. Love that. And then Little Lucky, whenever I roll a 1 on my hope die, I can just re-roll it and take the new results. Would much rather go with that, unless, of course, it ends up being a critical success. But at any rate, it gives you a little bit of a surety that you might, like, if you do roll that 1, you can just re-roll that and hopefully get something a bit better. So, yeah, took Halfling for that reason. I additionally took Book of Ava because I wanted the armor, I wanted the power push, I wanted the ice spike to have some form of damage. Because the way I see this halfling wizard is going to be more for the knowledge side of things. They're going to be an absolute lore whore here, getting everything that they possibly can from this, using all their experiences to do what they do best. So that's what I'm hoping for here. So I also took the Book of Tafar because I wanted to
Yep.
get the Mysterious Mist because I see this particular wizard as a more utility based wizard rather than just constant damage. Because I figured you were gonna go with the war school and
Yeah.
do the blaster stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Let me create something a little bit different here. So I'm like, how can I create a utility based wizard that has a little bit of damage on the side, but focuses in on how they can be a utility for the party. So Mage Hand I thought was pretty great in there. And Wild Flame you can't go wrong with, especially when you want to have the possibility to damage 3 enemies within melee range, because, sometimes that'll happen to you. That's why I took those items. But I went with School of Knowledge for my subclass.
Okay.
Mainly because I knew you'd go war and I wanted to show how it can be different and could I really
Yeah.
make it into something. With this particular build, if you're going to go School of Knowledge, you're going to need to build your experiences properly and really put a lot of time and effort into what your experiences are going to be
Yeah.
and kind of the knowledge route you want to go with and what kind of knowledge you want to have. So I find that you really do need to focus in on that, but I think it does have some good features to it, especially if you can leverage your experiences in the right way. This is going to be a great subclass to go with. I would have preferred something a little bit better or something a little bit different, but I'm not against what this is in its entirety.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as good as it could be. Even all the way
That's
to the
how
level
I
of
felt.
mastery, it doesn't feel as good as it could be. So,
Exactly. No,
but
I
yeah,
100% agree with you, True. I think you said it best. But we'll move on to level 2 here.
yeah, level 2.
Tradition wise, yeah, I increased my knowledge and I increased my instinct. So knowledge at a 3, instinct at a 2 right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Additionally, I picked up an armor slot. As a wizard, it's kind of weird picking these kind of things. Like, what do you value more? Armor, stress, HP. I
Yeah.
chose armor at level 2 because we're gonna have options to bump everything else up later, and that's what's really good about Daggerheart is you don't get pigeonholed
Yes.
into a certain way about your character. So when I picked up some armor just for some survivability, as far as domain deck cards go, and this is where I'm starting to feel a little lost if I'm trying to go
Okay.
blaster wizard because there's not many good damage spells here.
There's nothing.
But on the caveat, there's some really good like role play cards. There's some good utility cards. So I picked up probably my favorite utility card here at level 2, and that's Book of Vagris.
Yes.
I really like Runic Lock. I really like Arcane Door, and I like Reveal too. Reveal's pretty fun, and that
Yeah.
could just piss off your GM, which is I'm in the business of pissing off GMs. So I had to take Book of Vagris. No, sure, that's my level 2. Just some good utility here. Don't mind it. Cool shit wizards should be able to do,
Yeah.
and at level 2, you're doing it. So when I picked it up, what did you do it to?
I basically did the same damn thing. I increased my
Yeah.
knowledge to +3. I increased my presence, funny enough, to +2 because I feel like this halfling is
Wow.
just, semi
That's
charismatic
fair.
kind of.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
just feel like wizards are never charismatic, but I guess like halflings are just naturally charismatic, so you might as well play into it.
yeah. It just feels that way. I don't know why. It just feels like it. Maybe it's youthful spirit or who knows what.
Could
But
be.
it also just feels like my dude is going to be gaining a lot of knowledge through conversation rather than bookworming it in a library somewhere and being like, fuck off,
True.
So I did go with that. I also increased my evasion here because, again, I do want to make sure that I have some defensibility, and I feel like evasion's kind of the route that I want to go here.
It's fair.
And I also took Back of Vagris because
Yeah.
all the reasons
It's
you
good.
said. Runic Lock, Arcane Door, and Reveal, you can't go wrong with that.
You can't
The
go
other
wrong. They're all
options
really
here,
solid.
they are really solid. All three of those spells are great, but the rest of them, like the rest of the domain cards here, just didn't quite fit. Like Healing Hands, I didn't know what to really do with that as a wizard necessarily. Final Words as well, I thought was a bit odd to have, but again, this is obviously the Splendor deck. It just didn't fit for the wizard for me anyway, in the traditional sense of what a wizard looks like. But Book of Sigil was probably the only other way I was possibly going to go with, but that's why I had to go with Book of Vagris because there was really, in my book, no other options to go with. So yeah, but that's the level 2, man. Level 3.
Yeah.
What'd
Let's
you
move on
pick?
to level 3. I went with an HP slot and a stress slot. Those are,
Okay.
like I said in the last video. If you go watch it, check out the Warrior video where we had a lot of great things to say about Daggerheart. You pick up
Warriors.
HP, you pick up stress. Warriors. My apologies. Pick up HP, pick up stress. They're nice to have. As far as domain deck cards go, I picked up Book of Korvax. And the reason I picked up Book of Korvax is simply for a Rune Circle. I don't give a damn about Levitate or Recant, but Rune Circle is pretty strong.
It is really
You look
strong.
like you have some stuff to say.
I do. It's only because it's funny. Just to get mine out of the way, I did the exact same thing. HP stress and Book of Korvax. That's why I'm laughing because I'm like, of course you did, and of course I did. I was hoping you'd go with Book of Norai and get the Fireball, but
I just couldn't. It like I already have Bolt Beacon. I was like, I don't really need Fireball. Like,
Yep.
Rune Circle just felt stronger. But honestly, true. I'm feeling a little left out here with Levitation and Recant. I don't love them. I hope I hope that you love them so you can shed some light
I
on
do.
them.
So
Okay.
I like them because I'm going utility based, whereas you're trying to go with the magic damage and go blaster
True.
here. There's not a whole lot of ways that you're going to be able to finger bang magic into people.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, am not going for that. So levitation, to be more particular, to me had a bit of fun utility with it where I'm obviously not focusing in on the damaging side. I'm looking for ways that I can help out without having to utilize damaging magic. Where I can levitate something and hopefully get it over somebody's head and then drop it on them or something like that, Or being able to just pick things up because I'm too good to be carrying things myself, and just levitate somewhere.
Very halfling behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other part of that is Recant. I love the idea of like I can have these conversations, and I think you kind of already see where I'm headed with this. I love information gathering like no other.
Yeah.
So if I have an ability to do that because of my presence already, but then I can make people forget that we even talked about it, even better. Even better. Assuming that, of course, they, fail their reaction roll there.
Yeah.
That would be my hope. But Rune Circle, to me, felt like a good utility-based damaging sort of situation where I could set up a Rune Circle somewhere and get that protection or get that, like, area denial area. And that's what I want, is something that's going to deny the enemy from being able to come through that side. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of good things within the Book of Korvax. that you just couldn't get with any of the other domain deck options here at level 3. So yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
level 3.
One thing to add to
ahead.
that, which is really funny, is because just for the viewers, like me and True go into this completely blind. We have no idea what the other has chosen, so
No
it's
clue.
very funny whenever we've done it a few times too, where we have the exact same level up, and that just goes to show, like there are better options. Like we have kind of the same mind frame, and that's why you need to
Yeah.
tune in on our Myth that Told Us campaign, because we're of the
Yes.
same mind.
Yeah.
But
Level 4,
for
Bill, what'd you do?
level 4 is pretty fun. I picked up and increased my evasion, and I increased my major threshold here.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing that I felt like I really needed, but this domain deck card at level 4. And I wouldn't be surprised if you picked the same one. But Book of Exoda, and like that's not a sly on either of us for like choosing the same one. If Truce did pick the same one,
I
it's
did.
yeah, it's the best. It is the best card at level 4.
Yes.
It's one of those ones that I felt the same way I felt about Book of Exoda as I did as Book of Vagris at level 2.
Yeah.
It's like this doesn't feel like a level 4 card. This feels a little bit too unbalanced as far as the create construct goes, and counterspell at level 4.
Yeah.
It just seems a little bit too strong to not pick.
Exactly.
I'd love to hear your idea of it.
So for me, Book of Exoda was one of those things that, yes, I wanted counterspell. I actually wasn't taking it for the counterspell. It was a nice to have because I know I'm going to come across those moments in which I'm going to need to use that. But what I cared about most was the create construct. Because again, much like the same reason I wanted to get that levitate going, I want to have that construct that can do stuff for me and be able to do the damaging bits while I'm looking at other areas of the battlefield to like try and do some other utility stuff and hopefully disrupt the enemy in some other way while my construct is going to town.
Yeah.
That was kind of my hope and my outlook on that particular card. Arcane Deflection, Time Lock, and Wall of Flame was one that kind of pulled me in as well. I wanted to actually take an additional domain deck card here to grab Book of Grin, but I decided to go with take an armor slot, and then I decided to go with another increase to traits, and that was to my Instinct and Finesse. Because I felt like that was going to, by a chance, come up, because let's face it, if I'm going knowledge here, I want to be able to have Finesse to do some control type stuff if that ever comes up, hide, all that jazz. But also, Instinct is going to be usable for when I'm searching for something or if I'm trying to feel something out. Instinct is going to be what's going to be used. And so I felt like I needed to increase that to some degree, but I also didn't care about any of the other options. Yeah. So, yeah. But I was kind of fighting between that and gaining another domain deck card, and I would have taken Book of Grin at that point. So.
Okay.
But that's why I took Book of
it.
Exoda.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, that's level 4. Level 5, what'd you do?
Level 5, I feel like this is where we differentiate, and I'm pretty stoked about it. One thing that we probably both did, we both increased our traits. Added to my knowledge, added to my instinct, as is tradition. But I also upgraded my subclass, and I know I was talking trash about the subclasses for Wizard, but School of War, basically all you have to know is that your School of War foundation, like your D10s, they just scale up. Every time you upgrade your subclass, you either get 1d10, 2d10 to 3d10. So I went ahead and took the specialization in School of War to get that 2d10, strictly for the synergy with this domain deck card. And that's going to be Smite. One of the few times I dip into the Splendor deck, I took Smite. It's pretty good. You just spend 3 hope to charge up your Smite, which feels a little clericy, like we talked about, but you double the values of your damage roll. Add that in with your School of War, 2d10 plus double your damage roll. You're going to be dealing some serious damage. Yeah. Especially here at level 5.
That's fair. Yeah. Because, I mean, we are increasing our proficiency bonus here to +3 now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well.
I don't hate it. I don't hate level 5 here for Wizard. I like it. If you're going Codex build, do it. Don't be afraid to take a dip into the Splendor deck to grab Smite.
Absolutely.
But that's my level 5 True. I'm finally to the point where I feel like I'm a powerful wizard. I'm finally there. What did you do at 5?
Same. So knowing that I have proficiency 3 now, when when I get into level 5, I also increased my traits to be +4 knowledge, but obviously +3 presence here for me.
Yep.
I did take the School of Knowledge increase here, so that way I can increase my experiences to +1. And I love that it allows me to change out one of my experiences in case there's like one that I'm feeling like, you know what, that never comes up. Need to get another one in here. But then I can also, once per short rest, when I'm recalling a domain card, I can lower the recall cost by 1, which I like. I like that ability because then I can move through all the different domain cards that I'm going to have at my disposal here that are locked away in my vault that I want to bring out in certain moments. I can at least reduce the cost for that stress by 1 and, not feel like I'm hurting myself just to get the card out for me, So that's why I took that. And then I took teleport because, again,
Okay.
I wanted to be that utility guy that helps the party out. So one of the things that I could think of was teleport as a good way to get the party all over the place. And especially at level 5, all of a sudden our travel gets so much easier.
Oh, so much easier.
So much. Fuck. Because it's hell sometimes when you're trying to get around the map. So, if you can do it by teleport, of course, easy button. But that's my level 5, man. Level 6.
Like how
did you go here?
there were a few options here. First and foremost, let's get out of the way. I picked up an HP slot and I added to my evasion. Got a +1 to the evasion. Nice to do. I see with that reaction, we probably did the same thing.
Yep.
And I feel like this is going to be another level of the same. So I will say I took Sigil of Retribution. Okay. I want to tell you, though, how close I was to picking Banish. Banish is very strong. But reading into Sigil of Retribution, I really liked it. Yeah. Use an action to give your GM a fear and mark close enemy with it. Like, that's a small price to pay. And then anytime it does damage to you or anyone else in your party, put a D8 on this card up to the maximum of your level, which, it's one of those ones that scales. It's going to probably stay in your loadout. But as I love free damage, that's why I picked this. It's free damage. It's strong. You keep it in there. Anytime you have a free action and a fear, do it. Just do it.
Hell yeah.
But that's my level 6.
I fully agree. Yeah. I wanted to take Sigil of Retribution so badly. But then I saw Banish and I said, you know what? This is probably
It's funny because I initially had Banish and then I switched to Sigil of Retribution. I bet you had Sigil of Retribution and then you switched to Banish.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right. I also did the same thing, though. I did evasion +1, so now I'm at a 13, and then I did HP +1 just to get that bit out of the way. But I did take Banish because of the fact that I can leave this creature out, and as long as nobody else is rolling with fear, that creature's going to be gone for a little while. And that's what I like about that. It's a good way to get them to disappear. I mean, as you know, anyone who's played D&D knows Banish and wants to use it. It's basically the same thing here in terms of, the style that we're going for, even if it works just slightly differently. But yeah, that's why I took it. I just see so much utility in using Banish. It's so great. So yeah.
It is 100%. It's one of those, like, if I was gonna rebuild this, I would probably go back and pick up Banish, like maybe like level 9 or level 10. Not to spoil anything, but I didn't do it on this build. But playing it out, like, that might be one of those ones like I go back and grab.
And this might be one of those levels where I would actually do an additional domain deck again, either here or at level 7, and grab the other card, whichever one I didn't take, so I could get both of them because they have so much utility to them. I mean, the fact that you get to put a Sigil of Retribution on there just by giving your GM another fear on top, or Banish. I mean, there's two really good, solid Codex cards that really I think any wizard should have both. I think there's so many reasons to kind of take that sort of thing. But
For sure.
what's your level 7, man? Because this is where we either
Yeah.
go touched or we don't. Did you
Yeah,
get
that's true.
touched?
It's where we go to. I got touched. I got touched here. Picked up an HP and stress slot. As I always say, they're nice to have.
Yep.
I grabbed Codex Touched. It's too good not to. Now,
Yeah.
I will say I really like the Book of Ome, but the touch cards are just so strong. It's kind of what you've been building toward your entire campaign to pick up this touch card.
Yeah.
Mark of Stress, add your proficiency to a spellcast roll, just that much more likely to hit, and you can replace this card with any card from your vault without paying a cost. That's the key.
Yeah.
It's a very, very powerful feature.
I do like that.
Yeah, but that's what I did at 7 True. Did you get touched?
I did not get touched.
I said no. Of you.
I said no to being touched. So I first off went with proficiency +1. So I have 4 proficiency dice to mess with. Because again, if I'm going to do damage, I want to really do damage. So that's why I took that other proficiency here. So that way I'm working with proficiency +5 by the end of this whole thing. But I took Book of Hamet, or Homek, however you want to say it. Homek.
Homek.
But I like it because, again, pass-through is super good. Playing gate you really can't go wrong with, and you're probably going to be hitting those spellcast rolls, no problem. I think it's great utility-wise. I had to do it. Codex Touched, although I do like it and I do think it's good, it didn't really hold a lot for my character concept. So
Fair.
Not like Book of Home. I think it really has a lot more pull for me anyway, so that's why I took it. But yeah, just more utility on more utility. There's going to be nothing that I can't do by the end of this wizard build. So
no, I appreciate it.
But yeah,
I definitely respect that.
That's level 7. How did you go about level 8 besides increases, subclass, and
Yep.
What, Haven?
Yeah. You actually nailed it on the head. Increased my traits, got that knowledge to 5, instinct to 4, and then I added 1 to my evasion, and then I picked up Haven. Yeah, it's what you do.
You put 1 to your evasion. You didn't do the subclass?
Oh no, I did do subclass. I just misspoke. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay,
it was
good.
subclass. Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, I did subclass to get that 3d10. Like I said, I'm trying my best to be a blaster wizard. It's the best option I got.
Yeah.
Is to do this, School of War. 3d10's a lot in Daggerheart. It's nice to have. Got that mastery into my subclass and then increased traits here. And then I picked up Haven. It's nice to have. Utility.
Have to. Yeah, no, it's a good utility
You have to
card.
get it.
Because really and truly, between all the other options at level 8, there wasn't anything else that was better than Haven. At least not in my opinion. Shielding Aura was the only one that I had remotely thought about, but then I realized I'm not a cleric though, so I decided to go with Haven as well. I increased my knowledge +5 and then my presence +4, and then I of course took my subclass for knowledge because now I get to choose to and add +1 to each of them again. On top of that though, my experiences, whenever I use them, I can roll a d6, and on a +5, 5 or 6, basically, I don't have to spend the hope. So it's a way to use that experience without having to think, do I have the hope to do it? And you can pretty much, as long as you got the 1 hope, you might maintain that 1 hope the entire time at the very least. So yeah, absolutely love that. Because with School of Knowledge, you're probably going to be forcing yourself to use as many experiences as possible. And this is a great way to negate how much hope you're probably going to be spending. So, yeah.
100%.
But that's my level 8, man. We are approaching the end. Level 9. This one
gets pretty good, though. The end. Yeah, level 9 is pretty solid. Here I picked up an armor slot, and then I added a stress slot.
Okay.
So went ahead and got those out of the way. And then the domain deck cards for level 9 were actually all pretty good, including the Splendor deck. I liked Salvation Beam. I liked Overwhelming Aura. I like Disintegration Wave, but I had to settle on Book of Ronin here. Uh, I know, like, it's one of those things. So as a wizard, you're a blaster, you deal damage, but you're also that utility base, which like you're going for. Book of Ronin is just too good of utility to pass up here. I mean, Stable Portal, that's something a wizard should be able to do at level 9.
Absolutely.
So you go ahead and pick that up. It makes you and your party's life so easy. And I like Transform a lot too. Transform is fun.
Yeah, Transform is just funny. Like,
Yeah.
there's not anything that you really gain from it besides you're just transforming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just comical. That's really all that one
Yeah,
is.
it is. It's a good hiding spot. I mean, if you're playing like hide and seek, like, you know, you guys are already gods of the world and you've already defeated the BBG and you just want to have the most intense game of hide and seek, the wizard should win with Transform. It's pretty fun. You just turn
that.
Yeah, you just turn yourself into like a filing cabinet and they'll never find you.
Never. Nor the files themselves either.
Yeah.
God. Well, you know, I did something similar here. So I did go with HP and I did go with stress. I was actually going to go with the Book of Ronin. I really was, because, again, Stable Portal. I was all for it.
Yeah.
But then I thought, what's better than being able to basically kill off nearly every minion and near to minion that's out there? So
Fair.
I said, go Disintegration Wave, because...
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
It's so good. And if all I have to do is mark a stress for each one, by this level, I'm able to take out 8 individuals.
That's so
you know
crazy.
what I mean? And as long as they're difficulty of 18 or lower, they're gone. And I love that. So that's why I decided to go with that. It felt perfect in terms of being able to take out a good portion of the problem that you're probably going to be dealing with here at level 9, because let's face it, you're going to be getting into some challenging ass encounters. And
for sure,
this is a way to mitigate down how challenging those encounters are really going to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my level 9. What did you do for level 10 with really and truly some very interesting level 10 cards?
Oh, yeah.
That I feel like only one of them was really and truly worthy of being at level 10.
Yeah. I feel like one of them...
At least for a wizard.
Yeah, one of them does stand amongst the rest, and I feel like we probably picked the same one. But let's get my HP and stress slot out of the way. What I added to. And True, like you said, and I hope we agree on here, because in my opinion, this is the only card that really felt like a level 10, and that's going to be the Book of Yarrow.
Yes, indeed.
It's too strong.
Too strong.
I mean, if you truly think about it, like, I mean, we put the cards up on the string. Just take like a few seconds to actually look at this card and let it sink in. Magic immunity. Spend 5 hope to become immune to magical damage until your next short rest. That's an entire combat. You could go up against the greatest wizard that lives in your plane of existence and just do magic immunity. He can't do anything about it. Time Jammer, also amazing.
Oh yeah, Time Jammer's so good.
Oh, Time Jammer is amazing. But it's just one of those cards that... Now, I hope it stays in the actual rule set whenever Daggerheart drops, but
probably
if it doesn't... Yeah, if it doesn't, I understand why.
Yeah.
I will understand
you're
why.
Level 10, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And besides, like, you really have to build up your hope in order to use it, and then you're sacrificing a lot of hope to be able to do it. So I think it's worth the cost, especially at level 10. You're probably going to be trying to build up that hope, but you might not even be able to. But this is not to discount what Splendor brings to the table, because Resurrection is really good. Invigorate is really good. Transcendent Union, I really wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah.
Because I was struggling to find a way to actually use that one. So that was also why I took Book of Yarrow, is because not only is it a really powerful card, but it was the only thing that made sense to me for this character to go with. So, yeah, I also went that route. I also increased my evasion and my stress. So, you know, my evasion ends up being a 14 by the end of this. I have a good amount of stress slots to work with, so Disintegration Wave, is going to be absolutely deadly. Just one more individual
It
that I
is.
can disintegrate right then and there. So yeah, between all that, I think the Codex domain deck is really good. I
It
just want to
shines
see
here.
them add more options, especially if you want to go more blaster, especially if you want to go more necromancy, or if you want to bring in more some like arcane type shielding stuff, like being able to defend yourself through the arcane. There's really not a whole lot of options within the Codex book to do that.
Yeah.
So I would like to see a little bit more from it, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it, and let's face it, they're starting out. They're
Yeah.
probably going to release more later on that builds into these domain decks, so you get more options as you level up. Probably. So you get, hopefully, you can bring forth that concept that you have that you really want to put into this, not because you don't have that ability to do it. So
100%. Yeah. This was one of the few classes that I felt a little pigeonholed into what you could actually do.
yeah,
Which Daggerheart, the whole thing is you can kind of be whatever you want to be, utilize those experiences, utilize the domain deck cards. Wizards, the one class I felt a little left out of. Like,
same
felt
with
like I couldn't
sorcerer for me.
exactly. And the sorcerer. Yeah, it's pretty much just like your full on casters. Bard was pretty fun.
Yeah, Bard
But
was
like
good.
the wizard and sorcerer, they just felt a little like limited. And now I fully expect these to change. Like as soon as the actual rules like drop and everything comes out the book and everything, they're
Yeah,
going to be a lot more free flowing. They're going to be more balanced to the actual martial classes. But after doing all these builds, Drew, I gotta say, in Daggerheart as it stands at this moment, martial classes shine.
they do so much, and even the magic martial hybrid
Yeah,
still do really well. They do
they
very
do.
well. It's just the ones that are meant to be the primary casters don't. I mean, I had to go martial melee for a sorcerer for that to even work as good
Exactly.
as it does. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have had to do that, especially as a sorcerer. But I felt like there was no other way to go about it, especially with the amount of melee magic cards there were.
Yeah, I
Melee
know.
spell cards. I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, come
I
on now.
know.
So, yeah, I feel like the spellcasters kind of got shafted in a large way. I think there's some good potential here, and I'm hoping that they do make those changes. And I look forward to seeing if they do.
They will.
Because really and
Yeah.
truly, I want to have my players be able to choose a spellcaster and it be enjoyable for them, satisfying. But I don't feel satisfied here. But that's just
No,
me. I'd be
I don't
curious
either.
to know what others think, honestly, like if anyone else has felt this way. But yeah, I think overall, I think we're kind of on the same page with this one because obviously we took a lot of the same choices.
We did. Yeah.
But
But
I
no,
feel like it could be
Drew,
better. But hey, how would you change it if you could? What would you want to change? Like if you could change the domain deck, what would you change it to? Like Splendor. Like what would you change it from? Or
maybe
which
Grace. I don't know. Maybe
Grace?
Grace.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like Grace might work. Maybe, I mean, even if you could like flavor the Blade deck in a way, so where
Yeah.
it's not so much martial, it could be, magical damage,
Right.
if that makes
That
any
would be
sense. Like
interesting.
maybe, yeah, like go
Yeah.
Blade Codex, but with the Blade, like you can factor into actual spell casting rolls. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, I like that. And not having to go giant with it, in order to be able to bring
Yeah.
in that melee magic. That would be really nice. Yeah. All right, Mendy. So what about your closing thoughts just on the whole experience in general? How did you feel about building these classes and which one would you say was your favorite to build?
Oh, that's such a hard question to ask, Drew. Okay, one thing about building the characters. I loved building every single one of my characters. I had so much
Yeah.
fun doing it. Um, there's a few that really stand out. The
Okay, which
wizard
ones?
stand the or not the wizard. The warrior stands out to me. Now the warrior, like I said in the video, you can go check it out. Links will to be in here. But like it's so strong. It's so much fun. There's so much you can do. And you don't really have to be that like severe or that great note taker. You don't have to recall certain things. Your job is to go in and smash. So I really liked the warrior. I think my favorite build was my bard.
Okay, yeah.
because I am such a bard guy.
You
It was just a
definitely
lot of
are.
fun to do. I really liked the Grace domain. It was fun. The
It's a good
Midnight
one.
domain too is pretty fun. But like
Oh yeah.
the bard just the Daggerheart just did the bard right. They also did the Seraph right. The Seraph was a lot of
Yes.
fun, very
That was
strong,
great.
and I really like the Stalwart too.
Yeah.
Pretty much
That
all martial classes
Guardian
except for the bard.
was nuts. That Guardian was
Yeah,
insane. So yeah,
for
I think that
sure.
it's been a fun time though for every single build. I don't think there was one
Yeah.
that I truly like hated or
No.
disliked. I have been disappointed in certain ways with between the sorcerer and the wizard, but
Yeah.
I still enjoyed building this wizard out. I still enjoyed building my sorcerer out because I would have never thought to build a giant sorcerer
Yeah.
melee combatant. You know what I mean? Like that would
It's
have
a good
made no
time.
sense in any other context.
Yeah.
So, but
I
I've
love it.
enjoyed them all.
Yeah. And I mean, we're mere weeks away from getting our hands on that actual book where we're going to revisit these builds, see what we did wrong, see what we can do better, and then just have more fun. Have more
Yeah,
fun
I
with it.
need the official rules to come out already. I've been itching for this for too long, and I need to get my hands on it. So I'm hoping it's early spring rather than late spring. So I guess
Hmm.
we'll find out. But hey, that's it for us, though. I think that kind of wraps this whole series up rather nicely. I've enjoyed it. I'm had so much fun building this with you, and I really do think that each
Yes.
and every single one of our builds could work with each other in the same party and
100%.
be deadly.
And be
So
deadly. I love
so
it.
deadly. But comment down below which class has been your favorite, which build of ours has been your favorite, which one that you've enjoyed building yourself and what you would rather go with, and why. I'd be curious to know, quite frankly. And if there's anything you're confused with about these builds, just let us know. Really and truly, let us know down below. But if you are, for whatever reason, new to our channel, stop being new and subscribe and check out all the other Daggerheart content that we have, all the DC 20 content we have, and pretty much all the little one shots we're getting into. I mean, come on now. It's wild what we're getting into thanks to Fry doing all these one shots. But until the next one, keep that shield wall strong.